Professional wrestlers have been appearing in movies almost as long as professional wrestling has been around. Something changed in 1987 though when Andre the Giant melted hearts as Fezzik in the movie The Princess Bride. Ever since, Hollywood has been leaning harder and harder on these heavyweights to deliver the goods, and the results have been mixed. Stick around for this episode, you won't regret it.
That's how you get ants.
Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is one of the highest grossing and highest paid actors in Hollywood. Born in 1972, that's right, The Rock is 49 years old. Good luck looking like that at 30, let alone 49. Son of wrestler Rocky Johnson and grandson of wrestler Peter Maivia, you might have thought turning to professional wrestling would be a no-brainer for The Rock, but he actually attempted a career in professional football first. Entering the WWF in 1996, his charisma took him far. In 2004, he left what was now the WWE to pursue an acting career. While Dwayne Johnson is one of the highest grossing actors of all time, his charm hasn't made all his movies hits, which brings us here today. Today we see if we can find anything nice to say about the Tooth Fairy.
Tooth Fairy.
Johnson has attempted to have a diverse career, from thrillers to action movies to family-friendly fare to horror to comedy to animated films. It seems like he has a hard time saying no. Johnson plays Derek Thompson, a minor league hockey player who has been dubbed the Tooth Fairy because he knocks out his opponent's teeth. For anyone with an interest in hockey, he's an enforcer, a goon. He doesn't exist to make goals. In fact, our introduction to Thompson is him hitting the ice, checking an opponent so hard into the boards that he breaks through the glass, and, of course, a slow-motion shot of a tooth flying through the air. Thompson is exuberant as he is escorted to the penalty box while the crowd chants his name. After the game, in the locker room, the local press is interviewing Mick Donnelly, the new up-and-comer on the team. It's pretty clear that Thompson's star is fading and the fans will have a new player to cheer for. Mick throws some shade at Thompson. Some child fans are waiting for Thompson, and one of them expresses his hope of becoming a hockey player. Thompson tells him that he might be the best player on his team, but there's another kid on another team who's the best on his team. And there's another kid younger than him that's the best on his team, and so on. The moment comes back when the fairies have recruited Thompson. They call him a dream crusher. On the one hand, he's right. Chasing a dream is hard. Some things require hard work and motivation, but there's always someone more talented, more motivated, someone who works harder. There's also those who are younger and faster trying to beat you too. On the other hand, well, I guess we're supposed to learn that lying to kids is good too? Just because Thompson lacks tact doesn't mean he should be sentenced to what amounts to magical civil service. I mean, this movie is basically the Santa Claus, but at least being Santa has some dignity. Getting recruited to the bureaucracy of mindless fluoride-huffing fairy drones is just insulting. But as the movie progresses, it becomes more and more obvious that the reason Thompson is crushing the dreams of others is because he's given up on his own. After the game, The Rock sees his girlfriend Carly, played by Ashley Judd. He babysits for her kids. Tess, Carly's 6-year-old daughter, loses a tooth. Thompson tells Carly he can handle it, in fact wants to handle it, as a sign that he is ready for a bigger role as a father figure to Tess and Randy, Carly's son. Thompson is playing poker with some buddies and runs out of cash. If you're thinking to yourself, surely The Rock won't steal Tooth Fairy money from a child, then you're wrong. When Carly returns, Tess wakes up and finds no tooth and no money. Thompson tells her there's no such thing as the Tooth Fairy. Carly covers and has a fight with Thompson because, well, yeah, he might be the boyfriend, but he doesn't really have the right to crush her kid's sense of wonder. The next night, Thompson receives a summons to the land of fairies, grows wings, and gets into it with Tracy, a wingless fairy played by Stephen Merchant. It's silly. There's a lot of trash talking back and forth. Tracy sees the job of tooth fairying as a pretty straightforward activity. All the fairies are disgusted by Thompson, who's labeled a dream crusher. The head fairy is played by Julie Andrews, who is just wonderful. Every scene with her in it is a treasure.
Practically perfect in every way.
Thompson is sent to meet with Jerry, played by Billy Crystal, another treasure. He equips Thompson with the tooth fairy tools of the trade. All the while, he builds up Thompson's hope that there's an easy way out of this, then crushes that hope, trying to drive home the point about how it feels to have a dream crushed. He's not in the movie again until a post-credits scene, which is probably the movie's greatest flaw. The next morning, Thompson writes this all off as a dream, but that night he gets a call and transforms into the Tooth Fairy. Hijinks ensue. If you thought I was going to fail to mention Seth MacFarlane as a black market fairy supply dealer, well, then I have a surprise for you. We saw you, Seth. We all saw you. Thompson starts coming around. He works more with Tracy and starts jamming with Randy's guitar playing while encouraging Randy to enter the talent show. Tracy confides in Thompson that he can never be a Tooth Fairy because he was born without wings. This leads to an entertaining montage where Thompson is training Tracy to do the job. There's an obstacle course. It's a thing. At the same time, Thompson confides that he misses scoring goals, misses his former stardom. While he's found local success as the enforcer on the minor league team, it's nothing compared to the hotshot he used to be. Tracy applies to become a Tooth Fairy. During a game, Thompson takes a shot on goal and chokes. He's benched. He takes out his anger on Randy, giving him almost the same spiel he gave the kid in the beginning. Randy smashes his guitar. Carly breaks up with Thompson. I love it when they put desperately sad and broken adults in kids' movies. I'm not being ironic. Is that because I am a desperately sad and broken adult? Am I ripe for a reawakening in a kids' movie? Is this a kids' movie? Tracy visits Thompson to reveal he's now a Tooth Fairy in training. All the work paid off. Thompson is cruel to him, but instead of taking it to heart, Tracy turns it around on him. The next night, Tracy appears at Thompson's hockey game, encouraging him to shoot again. This time he scores. Then he has to make a Tooth Fairy call, transforming in front of the crowd. Tracy drives a Zamboni across the ice, shooting people with an amnesia dust cannon, which was pretty great. Thompson's tooth that night is Tess's. While he's there, he uses his fairy magic to create a new guitar for Randy. Carly catches him and thinks he's rented the costume to make amends. He flies Randy to the talent show, his ability to fly proving that he has truly accepted the magic as real. The head fairy releases him from duty and uses the amnesia dust to make him forget the events, but keep the lessons. Thompson is returned to the talent show in time to see Randy blow everyone out of the water. He proposes to Carly. The end credit scene shows Thompson now on the LA Kings with Billy Crystal and Julie Andrews in the crowd. He, of course, doesn't remember them, but they riff and ad-lib because, again, treasures. Dwayne Johnson is kind of a great actor. He's got the wit and charm to play very different characters. A lot of times his physique gets him shoved into very specific genres. Even so, it's interesting to see him play, well, kind of a dick. Usually his character flaws tend to be overconfidence and an aloofness that goes hand in hand with superior competence. Dwayne Johnson has since expanded his comedic wings to head larger franchises. Wings. See what I did there? Tooth Fairy may be an example of The Rock finding his footing in movies. He had proved he could be the straight man. With this outing, he proved he could be a little goofy. Without Tooth Fairy, there would be no return to the Jumanji franchise, no Central Intelligence. Well, it may not be the most renowned movie in Johnson's filmography. It was an important step towards greater comedies. And no film with Julie Andrews can be all bad, right? Right? How do I turn off the comments? That's all for this episode of Anything Nice to Say. Believe in magic and never be ashamed to like what you like. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Head over to Patreon to subscribe for exclusive content, early releases, and to get your name in the credits. My book, Live Like Legends, is available now wherever books are sold. If you have a movie about which you would like me to find anything nice to say, drop it in the comments.